That was it. Couldn't get away from the chase. Carbonite with the damage Vi. I gotta say, that two-man squad, the mid lane jungle synergy, you pointed it out at the very beginning. Belgium beats Carbonite, pretty much winning this game in team fights by soloing someone out. Carbonite looking for the backline is tanky, taking a little bit of damage. Nice Evolt comes through. Can they fight this 3v5 though? They keep the turret alive. Matroko hitting this one in the front lines. Masterwork, Riddick's are there. Nice damage from the culling. They have disengaged the team from the turret. Dragons up, Barons in 25.
And the other Dragon's up too, so Insomniac, they're going to have Morsu up, and Steve, still half HP. He needs to back. He needs to get out of there, because Baron's up in 15 seconds. If he isn't full HP for that fight, he's going to get dropped.
That is going to be dangerous. No ulti available for Steve right now. Baron up in 6 seconds, and Insomniac, they're just there on time. It's another Baron for them.
And there's no vision here for SBC. They have no idea what the HP is on Baron. And it's up, and it's down.
Can't do it, Carbonite. All right, he knows better than to check for Baron. He's like, you know what? If they're there, we lose the game. So he lets it go. Baron once again on these guys. 11,000
They're looking for Carbonite.
Lead. Uh-oh. He just uses Q. His flash is down. Carbonite has nowhere to go, and he explodes. Riddick finds him.
They were looking for that position. The Talisman of Ascension was popped just to get them around that loop to go top. They saw Carbonite was there. He was still camping around those golems, not worth his life. And Riddick's.
There's a giant minion wave mid. They're going to lose the Nexus. Only one turret, mind you. Only one turret defends the Nexus right now.
They need to back those super minions. When you have two super minions near each other, they buff each other. If SBC can stop the backs.
Stop BB. The Nexus is like gonna die to minions soon if they guys don't get back to their base. Lasagna looking for an engage. This is crazy. Gonna be Shyvana sent back. 4v4 for this battle. Yarrow getting chased down. Riddick pops the ulti. Gets some decent damage, but not enough. The Nexus will live. To be fair, Morsu can hold this, but 30 seconds of 4 versus 4 without Carbonite. Is that enough to let BB have an impact in these fights?
But there is a Baron buff on the side of Insomniac.
Yeah.
So they can hold their own. They can regen up.
And they don't go for it.
Man, this game is just neck and neck. The goal is going to get to the point where everybody's full build, it's not going to matter, and the Baron buff is going to be the real tilting part, as well as super minions, which we just saw take out a turret by themselves.
So now the kills are important, the goal doesn't matter.
Yes.
We're changing the rules in this
one. The lockout timers.
The lockout timers are huge, in fact. Riddick's going to recall out. Red buff was Stolen Dragon, of course, down anyway. Zhonya's going to be the next item of choice here for Lasagna, so an interesting mix of attack damage, ability power, and durability. Pretty beefy Evelyn here. Last item, I don't know what he's going to go for. We'll see. Blue Elixir for now.
Steve got Thornmail to try and deal
it's a good choice.
With Riddick's.
Yeah.
And that's just going to return more damage. The stronger you are, the more effective the Thornmail is against that opponent. Zephyrs, pretty much weird builds here for ADCs. Lasagna off on the left side here, trying to go for a pincer maneuver. But here comes the Talisman of Ascension for an engage.
Ascension used the slow on the Belgian Beast. Morsu in the back lines. Lasagna there as well. Belgian Beast trying to run away. BB down to half HP, just goes down over and over again. The poor Cinder just dies. Belgian Beast still in the back lines, will be dropping soon. Riddick though versus Matroko on the bottom of your screen. It's going to be a rough fight there as well. Belgian Beast trying to get away, is surviving still. Belgian Beast refuses to go down. 3 members dead for Insomniac. Matroko chasing, does not find Masterwork. Finally a kill goes as Steve drops. But it's going to be a 2 versus 4. Belgian Beast low.
And the only thing between SBC and taking game 1 is the Nexus. They have no turrets and no inhibitor. Go straight forward, SBC.
Belgian Beast is low, but it's not probably going to be okay. Carbonate. Oh, the inhibitor respawns. 35 seconds on BB. Here comes Masterwork trying to run away. Box comes down. This is not great for Morsu. Damage now going on to the Nexus. They're ignoring the champions, going for the game win. It's gonna happen. Steve fakes cookies, takes game 1 of the quarterfinals.
Without Draven on their side, who they used previously, and with a Zillion band against them, they still come out with a win, showing that they have more, and Belgian Beast can carry. It's not just on Matroko's shoulders.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. 2 huge comfort picks went over to Insomniac. Riddick's Draven, also a steal from Matroko. The Syndra coming through as well. And BB, I gotta be honest, did not have much of an impact there. He got picked on so hard. And that was so well played. Yeah. I have to say, so well played to see Bakes Cookies. The Vi engages, almost every single one completely on point.
And that was game 1.
Yeah.
Game 2, Champion Select is going to be very different since they're swapping sides now. Who is going to get Draven? Is it going to get banned away? Do you ban Vi if you're Insomniac?
I think so.
Do you pick something different than Syndra?
So
We'll have to see.
It's got to be one of those two. So a lot to go through in this game. Okay, so first of all, I got to give complete mad props to Carbonite.
Yes.
I was like, okay, Swishy Vi, we'll see. Picked the heck on BB. Destroyed his face many times. Made it happen. The synergy with Belgian Beast as well to single out these targets completely worked. Vi, Ziggs. I was thinking about the lane matchup, but think about mid to late game. When you get a pick, Ziggs will show up for that with the ulti.
Yeah.
So many times that worked.
And Steve as well. When we usually see Renekton, you're like, oh, he's going to fall off late game. He had such a great impact with his Ruthless Predator. He was always locking up Riddicks after the Banshee's Veil was down.
Yeah.
So he was getting that stun in the team fights and just stopping the damage and giving Carbonite and Belgian Beast enough time to take out BB every time without a big threat on them. We saw in that final fight, they started to get on Belgian Beast. He's had GA for a very long time, unpopped.
Yeah. And he kind of survived through it, actually. In the very end, he was still alive, that Ziggs.
And some Mikhails helped him out there.
Yeah, it did. And that's an awesome choice there, of course. The Thresh there, Yarrow making that one happen. And then you kind of look down kind of the rest of the line. You're like, Evelynn, to be honest, didn't seem to have much of an impact. We kind of say, okay, let's look at what the damage is for Insomniac. And it's okay, Draven's in the back line doing what he can. The Syndra, unfortunately, has the single target damage, but if you can only hit tanks, it didn't seem to do very much there. And there just wasn't the follow-through. Once the engages were strong, once the tank line was strong for SBC, you didn't see enough damage sit there and actually keep pumping out numbers for Insomniac.
Yeah, and Syndra is typically at a high level of play.
Mm-hmm.
You see them outplay you without mobility.
Yeah.
It's kind of that first flash from him where he flashed up instead of down to avoid the Ziggs bomb, and he went straight into his death in a 1v1, and that first blood for Belgian Beast set the tone of the game.
Yeah.
And BB Syndra just, it's his most played champion, but they were like, let's pick on this guy. He has no flash.
Yep.
He just gave us a kill. Snowball that. Let's not care about bottom lane. Matroko can take care of himself, and scaled into the late game very well on Lucian.
Yeah, and it was interesting because the entire back line of Insomniac had no self-peel. Draven and Syndra, the only one there to protect them at all was Lulu, and Masterwork couldn't keep them both alive. Too much damage came through. SBC with a great win, and we're going to get Game 2 coming up very soon. Guys, we're going to take a quick break, but when you return, it's time for tonight's, the next game in tonight's quarterfinal showdown, Steve Bakes Cookies versus Insomniac Part 2, and it starts right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2014 European Challenger Series. It's time for the second game of tonight's quarterfinal match between Steve Biggs Cookies and Alsomniac. Now, with one more win, SBC and his Cookies will advance to the semifinals and virtually guarantee themselves a spot in the Challenger Series postseason.
Yeah, and game one was a back-and-forth slugfest. Early game belonged to Steve's top laner, Renekton, on Steve. Other way around, Steve on Renekton. And Belgian Beast's Ziggs in the mid lane. And then in the mid-game, it belonged to Riddick's Draven and Lasagna's Eve. Even though Alsomniac lost, Riddick's had a great game on Draven, going 11-3-5, and with stats like that, you wouldn't think that was from the team.
The losing team.
Exactly, the team that gave up a game. But it just goes to show that Draven's extremely strong and will continue to be contested throughout this series.
Yeah.
But in the end, it was the Belgian Beast Ziggs that turned out to be the game-changing pick. And he ended it with 60 more 3S, 63 more CS than anyone else in the game, and a KDA of 7, 2, and 12.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ziggs will be banned this game. It's kind of one of those bans that you don't put a priority on when there's so much more that's threatening.
Yeah.
I would say Draven is probably going to be a red side ban from Alsomniac this game, because you can't let Matroko have that. And they banned the Zilean previously, and I'm curious as to whether or not that is the linchpin in the strategy. Like, if that would have been, they would have played Zilean with Lucian, or if they will only pick Zilean with a Draven. I'm not sure.
I feel like I've seen Zilean in enough different teams. Like we saw Millennium play. Yeah, Jerry plays a couple of times. So that's the kind of champion you can actually play into multiple sort of compositions. It's just a strong pick. It certainly works well with Draven, right? Same with Lulu. Like, you haste the Draven, makes him easy to chase people down. That's wonderful and fine. But I'm thinking about the bans. I think Vi definitely. I think you definitely, if you're Alsomniac, you get rid of SBC's Vi, or you pick it for yourself and hope it's not first picked. Although I think that's too big of a risk to allow them to first pick that and crush your mid laner again.
Do you leave both Draven and Vi open?
No.
So that they get Draven and you get Vi?
I don't see. So
or do you make them prioritize?
If you're Alsomniac, Draven's not a big enough priority, I don't think. I think it's a good champion and fine, but I don't think that's the hugest priority, especially not as a ban, because you can play it so well. I hate banning one of your own strong champions, just risking the first pick. I think that's wasteful. So I think the Cassin ban comes through as standard for red side. I think the Vi ban has to come through because that dunked the mid lane so hard and when the team fights so hard on SBC's favor. And then I think you got to consider, maybe we put the Zilean ban back through again. Maybe we remove the Gragas ban that they did, again, maybe another mid laner ban. But I think SBC have shown that Belgian Beast, even when banned a little bit, still a very strong player. That's something that you kind of, kind of no matter what, you're going to do well.
That's true. He's very consistent.
Yeah.
And all across his games, round of 20, round of 10, did a fantastic job. And now we see him round of 8, stepping up to the plate, saying not only can Matroko
carry games,
so can I.
Yeah, he's done a very good job of it.
And he was Kale previously, supporting Matroko from the mid lane. And he did do a lot of damage in the late game back in the round of 10. But in the round of 8, really just, man, BB did not have a good game against the duo of Carbonite and Belgian Beast.
No, he didn't. So now I think you kind of come through here and you look at the duo lane, and honestly, the 2v2 is going to be interesting. I think it did hold pretty equally early on. It was broken by a couple of good ganks. The early game was a lot on Lasagna making that happen. I think he gets a lot of the credit for starting the Draven train rolling, and then Riddick gets credit for keeping it going and not putting on the brakes. Yeah. So we'll see if actually just cutting off Lasagna can keep SBC in a better spot too.
Yeah. That's very possible. Carbonite, you saw he has a very aggressive playstyle, and he's not afraid to clear out the side lanes as a jungler.
Yeah.
We saw that constantly, and he actually almost paid for it for his entire team.
Yeah, nearly lost game 1 by getting picked.
That was so close.
If not for super minions, if not for the inhibitor being dead, I think that probably could have been an Alsomniac game with just a straight up the top or mid lane push.
Yeah, and they got so many back-to-back Barons just because SBC didn't have that objective control, and that blew me away. I was sitting there like, okay, your jungler's dead, they're going to pick it up, and then they pick it up again, So it just kept Somniac in the game for at least 25 minutes at that point.
Yeah, it did. So we'll see what these guys do. And actually, I'm totally wrong on bans, by the way. So actually, blue side, Kassadin ban. I didn't realize Belgian Beast wasn't really a Kassadin player, or didn't just want it in general. Jack still banned away from Morsu. To be fair, Morsu had very low impact that game on Shyvana, so keep the same bans going. Actually, SBC banning Vi themselves, so they are targeting Lasagna's champion pool with a Vi ban and probably a jungle first pick.
They have something else in mind here for their first pick. Aside from Draven, aside from Vi, Pantheon banned away again. Don't want the Baker to have that guy on his side. So I'm actually very curious to see what Steve Bakes Cookies picks up here as a first pick. It could be the Zilean. Or
Kha'Zix. That's the other jungler that Carbonite's played so far here.
That's true. Is Pantheon... He was a Lee Sin main back in Season 2. But that is a flex pick because Belgian Beast can play that too.
Yeah, true.
But this doesn't show a lot of their hand. It could be a jungler, which would be a safer pick, right?
Sure.
Because then there isn't really much that counters it in the jungle. In the mid lane, there are some things that do really well against it. You can go ahead and pick something like LeBlanc to lock him up.
Sure.
2 chains him in a fight, silence him so he can't jump away or reset. But BB, his champion pool, he has the Syndra, he has the Kha'Zix, which is another reason that this is a good pick. We'll have to see what they pick for BB.
See where they go with this one. Honestly, I like the fact that Insomniac are looking at Lulu right now, because Lulu with a Kha'Zix is a crazy good composition. It kind of bridges the fact that you've got a squishy jungler and lets you kind of protect him and say, well, you're big now, you can make this all happen. So Insomniac locking that pick away from Belgian Beast is good. It's going to probably go to Masterwork again. The Nocturne coming through here for Lasagna, though, is a new one. We've normally seen him as a counter pick to Pantheon specifically, because you can kind of jump in once he jumps in and kind of counter gank that.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's blind picking it with so many other junglers available is very interesting to me.
So they immediately lock in Renekton for Steve.
Yep.
Signature champion here. He's played it so much throughout this tournament. And then the Lucian for Matroko. Had a good showing on that.
Yeah.
Didn't lose lane too hard, but it was against a Draven, which is just such a lane bully here. So he's going to pick that up for himself. No support showing just yet. Once again, it's very well-rounded composition. Probably a Kha'Zix in the jungle. And they're going to wait to hold off on their pick for their mid laner. But on Insomniac, not the same.
This is interesting to me. I'm surprised they would show a mid laner this early for Insomniac, because they already know what's top. And so they're waiting for something special top lane, unless it's Nocturne top, which I have seen, though I doubt heavily. I'm just confused. I'm surprised they would grab Ori so early unless they thought that was going to be something Belgian Beast would play here.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by that. Actually, I'm really confused by that, to be honest, because if you pick that Orianna so early, I mean, there's a wombo combo there somewhere.
There is. I mean, Ori, Nocturne, Lulu is great. I like the champions. It's a great synergy, but they showed it so early.
Yeah, which allows Belgian Beast to play whatever he wants, and if the Kha'Zix was a flex pick, then they really get to flex it as much as they want. I mean, they already showed who their top laner was. It was Renekton.
And they did carry.
And Insomniac decided not to pick their own top laner into that, and instead wait for this to round out. And they're hovering over Belgian Beast Ziggs once again, and they were going to look like they're going to go for the Zilean, but maybe I was right about the Zilean Draven combo. They're going to go with Annie Lucian for that early game bully and stun somebody, just pow pow.
I like it.
So powerful.
Yeah.
Trading potential is huge early on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Against
so
the Jinx. Oh yeah.
See what they can do. So now, see what Insomniac goes for in this one. I want to know what happens here, because Morsu lost his lane. So if you're saying, okay, we're going to run utility support bot lane, protector support bot lane specifically, protector support, half support mid, it's you need damage somewhere else. Nocturne, I've seen offensive Nocturne builds, though not very much. They tend to start going tanky pretty early. So your damage has to come from your AD carry, which they have with Riddick, but they need more. Now, Morsu lost his lane last time. If you're relying on him for your other damage source, that is risky, because you're fighting Steve on Renekton, who just crushed that lane last time, and you're setting yourself up for a very risky top lane phase, and someone that you're relying on here for Insomniac. They have a release in the entire time that does go through, and I want to see which way this goes. Most likely top Lee Sin, but I unfortunately don't know the players' champion pools that well.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Morsu. I believe that might be a rename from his live name Sleeping, where we'd seen previously. And he's a very aggressive top laner. He plays Jax, Riven, Aurelia, Lee Sin also in that pool.
Sure.
So almost like a Zion Spartan type top laner.
Yeah.
Doesn't really buy into the whole tanky bruiser meta.
Not necessarily.
I'm going to try to crush you early game. But Renekton's such an early game bully against a Lee Sin, it's going to be difficult to try and get an edge in this lane.
Yeah. And Nocturne's not even like the best early ganker either.
Yeah.
I mean, Kha'Zix is okay. He's like an okay ganker. Like he's not like Shyvana jungle where you're like, I don't care. So, you know, Nocturne and Kha'Zix can both do something here. Lee Sin, I mean, we'll see if he gets babysat, right? We did see a decent number against top early on in the game. For Morsu, they went kind of half and half. But looks like it is top lane Lee Sin, and it's going to be a lot on his shoulders to be the damage output here. It's a very weird comp from Insomniac.
Yeah, they're really... I don't know if they're pulling out all the stops or just pulling out the weird stops and trying to take you off guard if you're Steve Bakes Cookies.
Yeah.
Steve Bakes Cookies.
There you go.
I'm like,
Steve, it's just fun to say.
Steve Bakes Cookies.
You smile every time you say the team name.
Insomniac is a really good one, too.
Yeah. But that's more like a cackle and a grin. You're like, Insomniac, ha!
I can't sleep because I'm so awesome. It's Insomniac.
And why not when you got video games to play like League of Legends? Speaking of which, it's good and late in the day here in Europe as well. So these guys keeping their Insomnia going. Keeping themselves into the game here. It's going to be a best of 3. Of course, game 1 already went to SBC. So see if they can make it a 2-0, go to the semis.
It's a really long game, that first game, too.
Yeah, 45-ish minutes.
Really drawing it out with their awesomeness, keeping you up.
So here we go. Doran's Blade opener for Lee Sin on Morsu. Doran's Shield, interestingly enough, for Steve. So we normally see Blade openers from Renekton. They're usually the bully laners here. But apparently he's not reading the matchup this way. Also got to point out Masterwork opening up with Ancient Coin versus Doran's Ring here for Yarrow. So gigantic combat stat advantage for the SBC bottom lane.
Yeah, it's that Doran's Ring which we see people like Afromu bring in on that Annie early on for their harassment. Also has a little bit of extra AP tucked away in there too. Has starting with 24, so he's got 9 coming from masteries. And
9 offense, I'm guessing.
And I think a little bit from runes too, because that wouldn't give you 9.
Not quite.
He'd have a little bit extra.
Bring me more flesh.
And Insomniac, they're looking for something here. They're all sitting in that bush. So in the meantime, the composition that Steve Bakes Cookies has is very similar to what they ran last game, except their bottom lane has a little bit more initiation power with a point and click, and now they have resets and a huge threat from the jungle. It's going to be squishy once again. Maybe even a little squishier, actually. Vi has some defensiveness built into her passive, and the fact that it really goes into her building giant belt items, whereas Kha'Zix not so much. Relies on resets and evolved wings. But this composition is going to be very similar to the way it was last time. But now there's a synergy here, because you can poke people out, engage, and then people will be about half HP, and it's an AoE poke too, which is the best thing for Kha'Zix.
Absolutely.
Getting those resets and allowing yourself to get even more off of people who are already half HP is huge, because if you just poke one person down, it's just one and done. You're out of there. So he'll have his pick of the litter. And Insomniac's team composition, there's a wombo combo here somewhere, like I said.
Yeah. Nocturne and Lee Sin can go in pretty hard. And Orianna Lulu going to be happy to help them here.
And then maybe a Super Mega Death Rocket on top of it, but
yeah, why not?
You're going to have Lee Sin in the top lane, and he's building damage, is what it looks like so far from that start. He's going to try to look to bully early on, and that's a risky move. It's very risky.
Well, they're down 0-1. You might as well take risks at this point. They played their comfort picks last time, and it didn't work out for these guys. So a new look here for Insomniac. Can they make it happen? Early push does come in here for the Jinx Lulu lane of Insomniac. Of course, these teams switching sides from last game. And he going for the poke there on Yarrow. And there we go. Level 2 comes in first. Insomniac not going to get much off of that. They're going to push into the turret. SBC forced to last hit under their turret for this one. Boatswing was hitting level 3 as well.
So this dynamic in the bottom lane is a little different than most, because Jinx has a range advantage when she's in her fish bones.
Yeah.
But Lucian has so much trade potential early on, and Jinx is pretty much purely an auto attack champion.
True.
And
the other build is very hard to land.
Yeah, exactly. And in the heat of the moment in a fight, Zap is more of an initiation chase tool than it is an in-combat thing, whereas Lucian is like piercing light over and over again.
True.
Throw out my Ardent Blaze. Very spell slinger style.
Yes, he is.
And he can come out on top of these trades, but we do see an early CS advantage here for Jinx, which is typically something you don't see in this matchup. But it's because of Masterwork and the defensive Lulu that he's able to get this little edge.
They've got the push. They've pushed in. They've made minions die to the turret that haven't been CS there by Matroko. So far that has worked out for the Insomniac duo lane. They're keeping the shove going. They don't have much ward coverage to spot out for a Carbonite gank, but it hasn't come in yet anyway, so they're safe.
And there was like a weird cannon minion off on the side. It was just having a vacation in the jungle.
Yeah, they pulled it to get it out of turret aggro range.
Which is really good.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're support, always do that.
Yes.
If your guy isn't back to lane, your ADC, just pull it up and away from the turret so they don't miss any CS. But up top, there's so much bullying back and forth. Both of them sub 50% HP right now. And Kha'Zix sitting mid. BB doesn't see him.
All right, there we go. Damage coming across. Flash goes in time. Carbonite did get his Q. The shield from BB keeps him alive here, but down to half. Lasagna looking for the gank. Of course, they know the jungler was already mid.
Yeah, they ping him. They saw him with that ward when he retreated. They see that he's actually going to try to wrap around top.
Ooh, they thought he would go there and rating try for him, but they're not going to spot him, though. That would have been so smart if it worked, but Carbonite just goes for the steal.
Now, he's sticking mid because he knows BB doesn't have flash anymore. That's a kill waiting to happen if he can close that distance. And now Steve getting a little comfortable in the top lane. But Nocturne's ganks, like we said, pre-6, not that impactful. But here, now Lasagna comes.
Oh, man. He's and
oh, no, he sees.
Carbonite. Yeah, Lasagna walked by a ward.
Lasagna goes away.
Gets cut off by Belgian Bees. This is not good for this poor Nocturne. Gonna go for the fear, gonna get knocked away. Damage coming across. Look at the shield coming in, but the ignite is there. Will they chase? 250 health left. Nope, gonna back off this one, but so far, twice now, better end of the deal for SBC. Ignite on a Masterwork as well. This game is going so much in SBC's favor early on. Mid, jungle, and bottom just got big swings.
And because they poked the jungler out, Carbonite can go ahead and roam around a little bit. All potions used. Looking down bottom, he's just going to poke out and see if there's like a lucky pick, but no lucky picks.
Nothing to
Lulu
find.
went back.
Yep, nothing to find there. Recall already comes through. Riddick's good ward there. Puts it down, spots the Kha'Zix. Carbonite wasting a little bit of time. Both junglers, though, I gotta say, equal CS for these guys, so similar items will come through for both of these.
So top and mid, speaking of items, have backed Pickaxe from Morsu and Chalice of Harmony for BB. Wasn't able to buy that last time he was forced back early. But Morsu, straight damage, rushing a Tiamat, I would assume, for the wave clear on Lee Sin, and trying to just go even with Renekton. But back and forth, we saw their early damage is equal. And Riddick's taking a lot of damage again.
He's getting lower and lower, has barrier and flash, but his health bar, he's one spell rotation from dying if he doesn't barrier it. There he goes, and it does get picked up. Yarrow surprises him with the damage. Shield doesn't come in time. First blood.
I was sitting there like, he could just flash
He can
kill
just
him.
die. He does it.
And was not expecting the Incinerate as opposed to the Disintegrate, because the Q has a travel time on it. You would have seen that coming.
Yeah.
The flash W is instantaneous.
Much
And look
smarter
at
choice.
this.
Level 6 first for Steve. Not good for Morsu. Pushing him away.
They also both bought Pickaxe.
Yeah.
And now you're just seeing the sustain of a Renekton overpower this Lee Sin, finally getting 6.
Yeah. I mean, it was level 6. It was the all-in.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
was
you
the 6.
can't fight me. Denied a lot of minions by doing
Oh,
that.
it was
Masterwork.
alone.
He's not in a good spot. Flashes. Shield goes on. Can he get away? The flash in. Not enough damage. Carbonite with the Q. Taking it down. Ignite is on him. But Troko getting chased. Has to flash away from the zap. There was a Nocturne coming on the other side of the wall. Carbonite not in a good spot. The Fear Tether comes down. Riddick's trying to stay alive. Getting away from the bomb. He does. Flash from Lasagna. Lands the Q. 2 kills picked up. Riddick's going to like that one a lot. Can Lasagna chase down for much more? He is 5 to Belgian Beast 6. Spell Shield comes down, and he is around. Shield comes in, keeping Lasagna alive just barely. He's not going to find much more, or can he? Looks like it's going to be the disengage. 2 for 2 overall in the game.
Very sloppy and overextended fight there by SBC going beyond the turret. But Troko did not need to be there. Gives up a kill. Gives up a get excited to Riddick's.